Hello guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going through my round 24 AFL tips. It's the last round of the season. Finals is just around the corner and there are currently two teams that are outside of the top 8 that can mathematically still make it. So yeah, it's going to be pretty good finish to the season and yeah, let's get reviewing and tipping. Last week I got myself a 7 out of 9. There actually weren't too many upsets, and we started off on Friday night, and this is one of those games that sort of how I was expecting how it went, but the Swans won by 39. I thought they'd win by 16. Thought it'd be a bit more close, but in that second half, they really pulled away. Not going to lie, this wasn't the best game to watch. It was a bit of a low-scoring one, but yeah, Sydney just way too good, and the Bomber season is officially over, so they'll be disappointed with that, but I do get the correct result. Went with the Suns by 23. Melbourne won in an upset, and a massive upset. Actually won by 9 goals. I think it is just reminds us that the D's, even though they've had their off-field issues, they can still be a dangerous side sometimes. You just have to watch out, and yeah, they massive upset. They came over to the Gold Coast, and they upset Gold Coast by 54 points. It really is disappointing for Gold Coast. They're just a fraud team at the moment. And yeah, Gold Coast can win away now, but not at home because they've lost their last 2 games at home and they've won their last away games. So yeah, really disappointing there for Gold Coast. With the Giants by 4, Freo actually did lose the game, but they actually played a really exciting game. It was a very sloppy game despite the scoreline. It's actually pretty good, but the Giants did look sloppy at times, but I think they were just the classiest side. How about Jesse Hogan kicking the 6 goals? As for Freo, their finals are right on the line. They must win this week if they want to make the final. So yeah, really going to be an interesting finish, but yeah, Giants just too good there. Went with the Lions by 12. This was a little bit of a upset game again. Collingwood actually won by a point. So, yeah, the Pies can still mathematically make the 8, even though they probably won't. But, yeah, it was just really good for the Pies. Nick Dacos kicked a very good goal, and they just came back. They fought back. As for Brisbane, well, they probably won't make the top 4 now, to be honest. It's pretty much a battle between them and Geelong to make the top 4. So, yeah, disappointing for Brisbane at the G. Another lead coughed up. Their last 2 games, they've just coughed up leads, games they really should have won, and due to their inaccuracy, they just lost this game, and yeah, Collingwood deserved to win more, and they got it. So yeah, went with the Power by 1. They actually won by 22. I wasn't watching this game, but it was sort of a low-scoring scrap, this one in the showdown. The Adelaide Crows 3-game win streak does come to an end in the showdown. The Power just too good. They need a win. The Power. So yeah, it's going to be tricky next week with Dan Houston out and yeah, a couple of their players out travelling over to Perth, but they probably will still make that top 4 spot, especially if they win that. So yeah, good job to Port Adelaide getting their 15th win of the season. Then at Marvel, backed in the boys by 8. We actually won by 18. This was an incredible game to watch. By the way, we were down 33 at halftime. At quarter time, we were down like 3 points to just 4 goals to 26. We absolutely stormed home. This is arguably our best win of the year, 83-point half. Yeah, it was just Saints footy that, you know, is pretty much top 4 footy, how we're playing in that second half. Unfortunately, we've left it too late now in the season. And as for the Cats, well, that's pretty disappointing choking that lead, because that could probably cost them a top 4 spot. They don't beat West Coast, which they probably will. But, yeah, disappointing for the Cats. But, yeah, really thrilled about this win. It just pains me as a Saints fan that, you know, usually in years we start off really well, then fall away. Well, we started off poorly this year. And, yeah, we're coming back in the season. But, unfortunately, mathematically, we cannot make finals. And, yeah, we need to still work on our starts in the game, you know, those close couple games earlier on in the season. If we had have started well, we probably would have won, and we probably would be playing in a final spot. So, yeah, disappointing there for the Cats, but I'm happy that we won. Went with the Dogs by 28. This was an absolute blowout. Credit to the Dogs, because they don't even need a percentage booster. I think they already had their percentage coming into this over 120%, but they did not give up. Sam Darcy kicking 8 goals. It just shows you that this side is hungry for finals this year to rebound, and yeah, credit to them. For North, it was pretty disappointing at Marvel. You thought they'll give up a bit more of a fight, but I think the Dogs, they're just way too hungry. Much classier side. They should make the 8 with that good percentage. They pick up their 13th win of the season. So yeah, went with the Hawks by 53. They actually won by 63, and this game really started off fast. I think Richmond kicked the first goal, and then Hawthorn responded with the next 8, and at quarter time, it was 57-7, and yeah, from there, it was pretty much dominant. The Tigers did have a bit of momentum. They worked themselves back in the game, so credit to them for that, but Hawthorn, they're just way too good at the moment, and they need the percentage, and they really should be making the finals now with North on the cards. So, yeah, Hawthorn, they booked themselves a September spot, and yeah. Went with the Blues by 9. They actually won by 65. This was a really dominant performance from Carlton. Heading away over to Perth and absolutely dominating the Eagles. I could see this coming. I know they had Charlie Curnow, Mackay, and a few important players out, but I see this being a thrashing in one way, and they absolutely did that. And as for the Eagles, it's disappointing because they have been playing some good footy under Jared Schofield lately. But yeah, this was a bit of a let-off because Carlton probably gives them a bit more confidence coming into the Saints game. And yeah, they actually won there. So I got myself 7 out of 9, which I'm happy about. I move up 5 spots in Robiac's tipping competition. And yeah, let's get tipping for round 24, the last game of the round. We start off on Friday night. Now, this is the only game that is wrong, that is incorrect. All the other games from here are on the right schedule, but we'll just predict this game anyway, since all the other games are correct. We have Brisbane taking on Essendon. This is sort of a dead rubber. Coming into this, you know, they probably thought this would be a good schedule to have in the last round because they obviously thought it wouldn't be a dead rubber. But now this is pretty much a dead rubber for the Bombers and the Lions. This isn't as much of a dead rubber. They sort of still need to win this if they want to make the top 4. And I just think they're going to do that. I cannot see Essendon winning. You know, Essendon are actually pretty good at the Gabba. I believe they have won their last 2 games there, believe it or not. But I'm just going to go with Brisbane. I think they need to get a win. We should be... I think this will sort of turn out how the Sydney game turns out. I think that we'll get a good response in the first half from Essendon. But the Lions, they'll just be too good. I'm going to say they win this one. They need to win this big. I think they win it by 28 points. At the Gabba. Actually, you know what? Let's go 29. I like that better because, yeah, we'll go with Brisbane by 29. They really need a response. If they lose this Brisbane, that's going to be disappointing because they could be playing in an away final. We know how good they are at the Gabba. So they just need to win this. I'm going to back them in by 29. Then at the G, this is the Friday night game between Collingwood and Melbourne. Again, a really dead rubber game, especially for Melbourne, because as much as they had a good win over Gold Coast, it means nothing now. As for Collingwood, they can still mathematically make the 8, so they probably will want to be winning this game by quite a bit. They are favourites coming into this. This is a game that probably could go 50-50. Now, obviously, earlier in the year, Collingwood got the job done comfortably, and I think it's going to be the same result. I just think the Pies know they can mathematically still make the finals. They're going to get a big win here. Not that big. I'm going to go 26 points. I just think Collingwood, Friday night, MCG, they need to pick up their 12th win of the season, just to end off their season sort of nicely, winning the last 2 rounds, because it has been a disappointment this year for both sides. But Collingwood, I just think they're going to be a bit more hungrier than Melbourne, and they're going to show up on the Friday night. They're going to become 26-point victors at the G. Then at GMHBA Stadium, we have Geelong and taking on West Coast. Again, this is another dead rubber. All the good games are on the Sunday, which we will get to soon. But the Cats, realistically, at home, they should win this. But, you know, West Coast, they have been playing some competitive footy, despite the Carlton game, if you do excuse that. So, yeah, I think this should be a challenge for the Eagles. Definitely flying over to GMHBA. You just got to go with Geelong. If they win this, the Cats, they will book themselves a top 4 spot. They shouldn't have lost to the Saints. But I think they're going to get a massive win. Again, teams are going to start winning by bigger margins because they're just going to be dog hungry to get the victory. Because obviously they have top 4 spots they're playing for, top 8 spots. So I'm going to go with the Cats by 45. I know that is quite a bit, but I just think at home they're just the much more classier side, and I cannot see them losing this. If they lose this, they're probably going to let Brisbane take their top 4 spot. So yeah, I think the Cats win this pretty comfortably by 45 points at GMHBA Stadium there. Then at the G, we have the Tigers taking on the Suns. This is probably one of the most dead rubber games of the round, to be honest. Doesn't really matter who wins. for this game. Now, obviously, Gold Coast, they can't perform away from home, even though they did win their last game away from home at Marvel. That been a disappointment, and if they had have won, a couple of away games earlier on in the season, they probably would be looking at a finals berth. As for the Tigers, well, they're just disappointing. I mean, they could have put up a bit more of a fight against Hawthorn in that first quarter. You know what? Let's go with a Richmond win. In my ladder predictions, I said they would win this game. Gold Coast, it's at the G, so I think Richmond. It doesn't matter. I'm just gonna do it for a bit of a laugh, to be honest. Let's go with Richmond to win this game. Let's go with the Tigers by 4 in a very close game at the G. I don't know. I just feel it. I think Gold Coast can't really perform away from home, and I think that the Tigers they'll probably just want to look for one last game. One more win of the season, and I think they're a good chance to win this. They probably aren't the favourites, but you know what, stuff it. I can't win this tipping competition. We're just going to tip Richmond because I don't really care. So yeah, we're going to go Richmond by 4. Then at UTAS Stadium, we have Hawthorn taking on North. Now, this is being played at a UTAS, which will favour Hawthorn. Now, obviously, these two teams... for North Melbourne, it's pretty much a dead rubber because they have lost their last game by 96 now, and they can't make the top 8, definitely not. To be fair, if Richmond do win their game and North lose this by quite a bit, I think Richmond could actually finish above them. But as for the Hawks, they're playing some really good footy, 10 out of their last 12 now. They're going to win this. I cannot see them losing this. They just need to bank a win at their home ground. I think they need to gain a bit more percentage if they want to take over that 6th spot. It's pretty much a battle between them and the Dogs, whoever gets the home final. Actually, it doesn't matter, because they'll both be playing at the G. But I'm going to go Hawthorn by 37. We're going to do some big margins this week. They just need to win. The Hawks, they're playing some absolute good footy at the moment. Jack Ginnivan's on fire. Most of their players are on fire. So let's go with the Hawks by 37. Then at the SCG, Saturday night game, we have the Swans taking on the Crows. Now, the Swans, they have locked in their minor premiership spot, so they will finish first at the end of the home and away season. We didn't think, we thought that the Swans may fall away, but they have won their last 2 games. I wouldn't say convincingly, but they have been getting the job done. That's just what matters. And to be honest, they're coming up against an Adelaide side at the SCG. Since they know that they do have that top 2 spot, and they are playing at home, they locked in the minor premiership. I could actually see them losing this because they may try to avoid some injuries, and I think it will be much closer than people do expect. That being said, I just think the Swans, they're just the much classier side. It would be probably one of the upsets of the years if the Crows do win this, because it's been a disappointing season. Let's go Sydney by 15. I like that. I think they won't be pushing out this margin too much, but they should just be too good for the Crows, and I'll go the Swans by 15. A bit of a closer one, I think they win it by 15 points at their home ground, and they pick up their 17th win of the season. Then these are where the games heat up. I think this is the AFL knew these games would be crucial for the top 8, and this is now the Bulldogs and Giants should both make it, but the Dogs still can mathematically drop out if Carlton and Freo win by big margins and they lose this. They could drop out, I'm pretty sure. But that being said, at Mars Stadium, they take on a very informed Giants side who have their record winning streak of 7 games. They tie up their record. And the Dogs, they pretty much have the same form line, to be honest, because they've only lost 2 games out of their last 6. And, they are just playing some really good footy at the moment, the Bulldogs. Now, this is being played at Mars Stadium, so this is going to be a very close game. Because it's at Mars, I'm just going to back in the Bulldogs. They need to win this. I think the Giants should be good for top 4. So I'm going to predict the Bulldogs in a very close game. Let's go the Dogs by 3 points in a very close game. I can't really see this being a 30-point victory or more for any side, to be honest. I think this is going to be a bit more close than people expect. I'm going to go with the Dogs by 3 at Mars. They just need to bank this one up. It's going to be tough with the informed Giants, but I reckon they can get it done. Then at Marvel, we have my Saints taking on the Blues. Now, this is a must-win game for the Blues. I believe they can lose this game. if Freo do lose, I think they will still make it. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, this is going to be a massive game for Carlton. And I would absolutely love for Carlton to lose and Freo to win so they get into the top 8 for Fremantle. I would just love it. It's Ross Lyon the Grinch. He can show up yeah, give Freo a good chance to win. Call me biased. I'm just going to predict the Saints. The Blues, they haven't been the best of form. They're still going to be without Charlie, Curnow, and Harry Mackay and a few other injuries, which is pretty good for the Saints. I think we've been playing some really good footy. I've got no reason to not tip us. Let's go with the Saints to get a win here. It's not going to be by much. Let's go with the Saints by 12 points at Marvel. I don't know. I'm just feeling confident. I know the Blues did get a massive win over the Eagles, but I'm just going to back us in because I really feel like we can win this. I know the Blues will be hungry to win this, but I actually think we can win it. So I'm going to back in the Saints by 12. I just think we can pick up our 11th win of the season. And it probably won't be as much as a disappointing season as, people would think it's going to be for the Saints. So yeah, I'm going to make it a 12-point win for the Saints. And yeah. Then at Optus, this is the game probably of the round, to be fair. Last game of the round, 4:10 p.m. time slot over here in Perth. Freo versus Port Adelaide. Now, the Dockers, they're playing at Optus, and usually when sides, have finals on the line, when they need a win, especially at home, they usually get it done. We saw it with the Bulldogs a couple of years ago when they needed a win and they needed Carlton to lose. We saw it with the Giants last year. They needed a win over Carlton. They absolutely thrashed them. So I think that Fremantle, they've had 3 losses in a row. They've coughed up some really easy games, some really easy leads. But I think they're just going to be too strong. I could see Port Adelaide winning this definitely with their form, 5 wins in a row. I'm just going to back in Freo because they need it desperately and they need a bit more percentage. So let's go Fremantle by 22 points to get a victory at home. They just need this win, Freo, because if they don't win this, they can't make the top 8. And yeah, I think they do win this by 22. So to recap off this round, we went with Lions by 29, the Pies by 26, the Cats by 45. We went with the Tigers by 4 and a bit of an upset. I don't know why. I'm just out of this competition. So I think they can really win it at the G. Hawthorn by 37, the Swans by 15, the Bulldogs by 3, the Saints by 12. Come on, the Saints. And we're going to go with the Dockers to win by 22. If you did enjoy this video, please do like and subscribe. And we will see you in the next video.